So what happens when you use a lens that is made out of ice? Now, creating an ice lens brings three major problems. One, most ice isn't very clear. Two, being able to focus your images. And three, keeping the ice away from the sensor because water on sensors and it's just not good for your camera. So, why stuff like this, freezing your lens in ice, actually isn't going to work for an ice lens. There's a lot of perspiration that's there. You're not going to be able to focus or pull focus or any of that stuff. Mostly way too cloudy. So using a solution with more finesse is going to be taking the hood scoop and creating another lens that goes on top of it rather than having an actual lens made of ice. So each one of these lenses, actually several lenses on the inside. What we're doing is taking a ice lens and attaching it to the front of our lens. So we still get that wonderful effect while being able to have all the functionality attached with it. Okay, so what we are going to need is a lens bucket, lens cover, a hanger, and a pen. And we're going to suspend this lens hood into the ice. Okay, so now that we have the container for making the lens done, we're now going to go boil our water and make some room in the freezer. Now the plan here is we're going to probably freeze about half of this and use that for the lens, and that's going to push down the impurities down to the bottom so that we end up with nice clear looking ice at the top. Okay, now that the ice is in, we just need to wait 24 hours and hopefully it won't freeze all the way through and we'll have some pretty clear ice to look through for our lens. Let's jump to tomorrow. Okay, so after pulling it out, we had some huge problems. The ice did not form how it was supposed to. And rolling back to last night when we did it, I checked everything and the total, the outside of it was perfectly glass like I wanted it to be, and the inside was what was messed up, inside where the lens actually was going to be. And so now, when we're looking at it again, I refroze it, and if you look at this, you can see there how this stuff is all messed up, and then this stuff is almost where it needs to be. So we're gonna have to refreeze this and get it out of this thing. But what's kind of cool is if you look at the bottom part of it, it's frozen hollow right now. All right, now let's go to this. If you take a look here, that is perfectly clear. That's from our first little bit before I messed with it. And so if we can get that type of purity out of the ice, I think we're going to make this work. So back at the drawing board, I don't think we're going to use this larger one, even though I think it would work. It's just logistically a little bit too difficult. But we're going to try and use a bowl that's much smaller and then place our lens hood scoop in it and then have it freeze down to it. I might end up using a larger bowl than this one, but I think that's what we're going to go with. And I think that will give us the good, even keel, and then boiling the water beforehand and letting the water sit longer so that this doesn't affect it quite as much. Okay, so we were back here on another day and another trial, and I think we got it almost all the way where we want it. If I could just pick it up, it's so cold. Right there. So it's almost good enough. I'm going to throw it on there, and hopefully it won't be too misted, and we'll see how it does. Okay, so this is the Ice Lens 2.0, and I think we can get it even better than it is because while I can see myself through it, it's not very good, and the ice is cracking like crazy along it. You see that right there? That's a huge crack, and we don't want that. So we're going to try a new technique and see if we can get this even more refined. Okay, so new approach. I figured out what was going wrong. The ice, while it was freezing from the top to the bottom, it wasn't insulated enough to allow the heat to only escape from the top. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take these towels and wrap it around this to insulate the sides. And then after that, we're going to put in this little stopper in the center, which is just a plastic tub. and then put our lens hood on top of it so it's suspended about halfway, and that should give us the right position so that the bottom section doesn't freeze, but the top section still has that crystal clear ice. Now we have a problem with floats. Okay, so we're gonna replace it with Mr. Smiley's here. Oh, it totally floats too. Adapt and overcome, and now we have these little things in, what are they? Hangers, things that I'm putting on it to suspend it. And I think that does it. That'll keep it high enough. All right, and once again, we wait another day I mean, we're probably gonna wait about 12 hours instead of an entire day so that hopefully it doesn't freeze all the way through. Okay, so I just pulled it out and I already see one huge problem inside the ice. There are huge ice bubbles. I'm not sure if you can see them, but there's huge ice bubbles that are just moving around and have been frozen in there. We might have to readjust this, but I'm gonna pull this out, defreeze it, and see how it looks. Now, as you can see, there's a definite starting point to where the air bubbles are. But we do have perfectly clear ice at the top. Okay, so this is with the ice lens stuck on top, and it looks really wacky, but it looks a lot better than it did the day before, so we're going to try and get the surface as slick and clean as possible so that we have the minimum amount of distortion. And to get rid of the distortion on the ice lens, I simply took the Mr. Smiley's thing, put it in some hot water, and then just ran it around the top of it. And that smoothed it out pretty well. And we're gonna go shoot with it. There's still some distortions, but we're gonna go downtown Helsinki and see how it does. As we go on further and further and the ice melts more and more, it's actually a clearer and clearer image. This side's obviously more blurry than this side, but that's just due to how the ice bubbles formed. And we have reached the end of our ice lens. You can see it sliding right there, back and forth. So we're gonna dump this off and then, yeah. Now let me know down in the comment section if you thought this was more of a lens or a filter. And there will be more ice photography videos right over here for you to click on. So go ahead and check them out. Thank you for watching.